What's up, everybody? This is Concrete Zebra with Craftmaster Productions, and today I'm going to be showing you how to glide 808s in Studio One. What's up, everybody? It's Concrete Zebra with Craftmaster Productions, and the struggle has been real this past week. I had my computer hard drive crash on me, so I had to go ahead and re-upload my whole operating system. Luckily, I keep all my VSTs and my complete libraries on a separate hard drive, so I didn't have to go through all that. But needless to say, it's been really frustrating trying to get something up and out. So I finally got everything working again, and I'm just gonna do a quick request from Trey Leon. He's one of my newer subscribers, and he was asking me about how to glide and slide 808s inside Studio One, and it's actually something that's really easy. Um, a lot of the stuff in Studio One, I know their stock plugins aren't necessarily really flashy, and the GUIs aren't, really artistically designed and whatnot, but they're very powerful under the hood, and you can do a lot of functions. Once you start to really get into understanding what exactly they do, and they're really simple. So the first thing I did, if I wanna glide an 808. Well, first, I'll give you guys a side caveat. Actually, for me personally, what I do is I don't use 808 samples. Once you wrap your mind around the fact that all an 808 is a sine wave being triggered by a synthesizer that has a long release. You can go ahead and make these by yourself in your favorite synth. Once you get a little bit more confidence in your sound design, and you realize, listen, there's nothing different from me making this, than whoever I'm buying this pack from, because that's why you have so many different 808 packs now. It's not that there's a lot of, you know, great sound designers or anything. Is that they're really easy to make, and they're really easy to make sound good if you just know some basics. So, um, if you guys want to see a video on that in the future, I'll go ahead and put that out. But if you just want to do something quick and simple, and you want to use a stock 808 sample or something that you got from a kit that you like, that you paid for, um, this is one. This is one that I've had for a while. It's an 808 with a kick layered over it. It's a really good sound. It's got some distortion on it, so it makes it really present. This is what it sounds like. You can hear the kick. It's got a nice transient up front, and it's a really long release. It's good for like trap bass lines or whatever. So the first thing that I do when I use this method, is that I need to find the pitch of the 808. The reason why this is important is because you can go ahead and make your drum pattern, and put your chords down, put your melody down, and then say you go do your 808 last. And what's going to happen is, you might guess and find a sample that sounds good, on the original, just the first note. But then if you go to slide and make an actual bass line where there's actual melodic movement with the 808, you might hit some sour notes, and you're not going to realize it, because it's your music and you're attached to it, and you made it, and that's completely natural. That happens to everybody. We all think that all of our music sounds amazing, but when you go play it for people, because humans listen to perfectly pitched music, ever since you're born, on the radio or on CDs. Everybody has perfect pitch. They might not be able to articulate it, but their ear is already trained for it. So they're going to hear those sour notes, and they're not going to understand why they don't like it. They're just not going to like it, and they're not going to like it so much that they're going to immediately turn it down. I promise you. And maybe that's happened to some of you in the past, and now you can kind of understand what it is. So it's very important to find the pitch of your 808. That way you can tune it to the root note of your song and make sure that you play your bass line and key. So the way that I go about doing that is I will take the sample and you just right click on it and you go down to audio and you click edit with Melodyne, or as you can see there's a hotkey control M. You can do that too. And what's that going to do is that will bring up, that will bring up the sample inside of Melodyne. Now if you go to this menu right here, because this won't always be open up. If you go to this menu and you go to view, scale editor, intervals and degrees, it will bring this up, and what it's going to do is it's going to tell you exactly what key your 808 is in. It's going to tell you that it's in F minor. Okay. And if you look at it on the actual piano roll and you click on it, it shows you, boom, that's an F note. So now that we've done that, I can go ahead and take this effect off. That way it doesn't use CPU. And go to audio, remove Melodyne, or Control Alt M if you want to get fast. Okay, now we don't have that hogging anything up. Then the next thing that I do is I turn this into a sample one instrument, and all you have to do that is Control Audio and then send a new sample one. And what that does is it automatically creates this. It brings you up an instance of sample one. Your sample's already loaded. Now, when it opens up, the stock settings for it is nothing's going to be clicked, and it's going to have the sample root note being C3. The reason why we find out what the root note is because we can change it here. So all we do is if you hover over this and you use your scroll wheel, it'll go up a semitone, each time you click your scroll wheel. So you set the root to the root of your sample, which was F. So now if I play this note, if I play this on the keyboard, when I play an F, it'll be an F. When I play a C, it'll be a C. And what that does is that allows you to program a bass line now in key. So, I already had a pattern loaded up here because I wanted to make this tutorial quick for you all. And what I did was, just to show you, I took in the scale editor, and I decided to use the F sharp natural minor scale. And you click this button, and this is also one of my favorite features in Studio One. This is actually probably the main reason why I stuck with the program. When I started using it, I didn't really know a lot of different scales, and I didn't have any patience, to necessarily learn piano, because my outlook on learning an instrument was, why am I going to spend 2 years getting good enough to kind of not suck when I could learn a program and make whole songs instead of spending a couple years to kind of not suck at one instrument. A lot of musicians don't agree with that viewpoint, but it's something that's open up to you. It's your own choice. You can decide what type of musician you want to be. Do you want to be a computer musician, or do you want to play? I didn't really care about playing. So this really worked for me because, as you could see, what happens is it lights up the notes in the scale. And no matter where you click, like say you go to click on a note that isn't in the scale, it'll draw it on a note that is in the scale. You can't have a sour note. It just won't let me drop that note there. So that's one of the most powerful things I like about Studio One. I think that's why it's a great program for beginners. But anyhow, I went ahead and programmed this 808 bass line, and we'll go ahead we'll go ahead and play it now so you all can hear it. This is what we have. Let me unmute it. Now, the first thing that you can hear about this is that the notes are cutting off real quick and there's a click and it doesn't sound good. That's going to be the first thing that you run into when you start to try this method. The reason why that's happening is because if you look at this section of the sampler, the release is all the way down. And what that means, if you don't know about attack, decay, sustain, and release, just to give you a quick lesson, is the release is how long a sound will continue playing after you take your finger off the key, right? So for playing this 808, you want to be able to hit the key once and hear the whole sample. So you'll go ahead and turn the release all the way up. Now, the problem that you could run into with that is if you have a bunch of notes, back to back, those bass notes will play over top of each other and it'll start to get phasey and they'll cancel each other out. It sounds real nasty. It's like, you hear how they all build up. So what you want to do is, to stop that from happening, you go to monophonic. And what that function means is that if you play one note, as soon as you play another one, the next note that's being played automatically turns off the last one that you played. So if you listen now, that's all you hear is the note that you're currently playing. There's no carryover from the other one. So if we go ahead and we listen to what we have now, you'll notice a difference. You hear how it carries over? Okay, great. So we're almost there. One thing about 808s, and I could do a whole other video on 808 mixing and different treatments that we use to make them more present in the mix. But most of these 808s that you're going to get, they're going to need some type of distortion. And Studio One has, you can use their guitar amp or this red light distortion. It works just fine. I mean, this is pretty much the stock setting that came up. I think I lowered the low frequency because it starts at 60, and I pulled it down so it would catch some subs. And we turn this on, and you guys will hear the difference that this makes. Check this out. You see how present it is in the mix? So now that you got your 808 in the sampler, you got a little distortion on it. You can hear it. You hear it starting to sound more, more commercial. The next thing you're gonna want to do is to get it to slide. That's a really really popular sound nowadays. Here's the one method that we use to get it to slide. If you take and you drag the notes that you want to slide. Say we want this, to boom, 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 and then we'll have this note slide down to this one, and this note slide to this one. The way that we make that happen is we go back to sample one, right? And right next to monophonic, there it is right there. Glide. You want to make gliding 808s? Here you go. That's all you got to do is turn that on. When you turn that on, what that does is it sets sample one to function in legato. And what that means is if you drag one note, over another one or under another one, for the duration from the time it takes to get to here, the pitch will bend down to this note. So this will go and then it'll be here. And then if you want to do it short, it'll be like and get to hear. Um, and you can also fine tune this feature with the function inside sample one that says glide time. Okay, so I'm gonna play it, and we'll go ahead and mess with the parameters, and you can actually hear what it does. The other thing that you want to do is, when sample one first opens up, its pitch bend range is only set to two notes, and a lot of the stuff that you hear, like the Beyonce partition, or the started from the bottom, you hear that really exaggerated slide. That's going to be a lot more than two notes. It'll be either an octave or seven notes. So I usually start with changing the pitch bend range to seven. That way you can get a nice slide in between the notes. And yeah, I'll just go ahead and shut up and play this so you could hear it. Here's without the glide. Here's with the glide. And then we can go ahead and change the time. More exaggerated. Less pronounced. Now, when you go ahead and do this, what you're going to notice is that the notes that you're gliding, if you have one of these kicks, like I have, that has the transient built into it, that extra kick stacked on top of it, you're going to wind up losing um, you're going to wind up losing, all of the attack of this, and it's going to sound a little weird, within the rhythm. So the way that you combat that is just stack a kick on top of them. I go ahead and I pull up my impact, like I showed you guys how to make your own custom kits. This is my trap kit. I have this kick right here, a nice short kick that'll work with the 808. Whenever you're looking for a kick to stack with your 808, when you drag it into the sampler, besides just using your ear and knowing that it sounds good, if you're not that confident in your ears yet, and you're a visual person, you want to look at the actual sample, and you want something that's short. And the reason why that is if you look at the 808, the 808 it has a long release. You don't want a long sample being layered over this sound, because those low frequencies are gonna clash with the 808 frequencies, and it's gonna get muddy, and it's not going to be the listener isn't going to be able to pick that sound up immediately, and it's going to sound different from what you hear on the radio. So if you're looking for that sound, the way that they're getting that is with really short kicks. So if you're loading, different kicks in, you're trying to figure out what's a good kick in your library. Just when you load it into Impact, look right here. You see a short sample. That's probably going to work really well. So I've got that loaded up, and all I did was, make a pattern that was that was hitting at the same time as my 808s. And if you listen to it now, see, so that way I still have the transient. It still sounds like we have the same groove. And you can get creative with this. You can add a little roll at the end, whatever you want to do. But that's basically the gist of getting an 808 to slide, and getting it present in the mix. It's just all about working with the tools that you have, and understanding these core functions inside of this sampler, because it's a really powerful sampler if you understand what you're doing. What I would suggest to some of you guys who aren't really familiar with synthesis and things like that is to not be intimidated by it, because it all works around, three or four basic concepts, and once you understand, attack, decay, sustained, release, once you understand what monophonic and polyphonic means, and once you understand what glide and legato is, and then once you understand what an LFO is, you can look at this and see it for what it is, and not just see this sample, because when I look at this, I see that I could pitch bend, I see that I can make it wobble, I see that I can adjust, how loud this kick is going to be. And oh, yeah, another thing I wanted to show you guys. There's because there's another style of gliding where, if you kind of if you I think it's the Beyonce partition 808s. A lot of people on different forums ask about those, and what they are is they don't slide from note to note. You kind of hear them being played, and they kind of slide within themselves. It'll be like a boom. If that makes any sense. And the way that you can get that effect is you can go into the automation down here, go to pitch bend, press number 3, and click, right where the 0 is. Then you want to press number 1 to move back to your arrow. If you guys remember, these are your MIDI tools right here. And if you hover over them, you'll see what number it is to get to them. And if you wanted to make stuff move, you could just go and draw the pitch changes that you wanted. I'm just gonna do something off the top, and just exaggerated and goofy, but you can see how easy it is to really manipulate. And this doesn't just work for 808s. I mean, this is anything that you put into sample one, but you can see how easy it is to manipulate pitches with this program, with this stock plugin. So when you want this to actually work, because if you play it now, you'll see you can really exaggerate this effect with this knob here. Okay, pull it back a little bit, make it a little bit more relaxed. Yeah, so that's another method you can use to modulate the pitch of your 808s, make them glide, without using the legato feature. And it's just something really fun to mess around with, to kind of, if you use these tools and you use them in your own way, you might mess around and make the next 808 style that people want to come to you and learn. Or maybe you know you do it so well that you're able to synthesize your own 808s and your own samples, and you could design your own sample pack, and sell it for whatever you want on your SoundCloud page or your SoundClick page. But anyhow, that's it for today. This is Concrete Zebra with Craftmaster Productions. If this video helped you out, please like it, share it, subscribe to the channel. I got a lot of stuff in store now that I'm back up and running, and I'm going to be pushing out a lot of content this next week. So stick with me, and thanks for watching.